This is Umar for BoxNation. We're in Matt's hometown, Birmingham. Fantastic fight live on TNT Sports this Saturday. Are you leaning towards Davies or Masoud?
I think I'm going with Davies, the proven guy, the champion. But Masoud's a talent, and I know a lot of people are picking him, people whose opinions I value and respect. It's a funny one because there's a few that are like definitely Masoud, a few that are definitely Davies. But I think most people are sort of sitting on the fence because they don't really know. They're like, oh, I can't pick a winner. It's a tough one to pick. So, yeah, I'd say it's legitimately a 50-50 fight.
Can tell sometimes as well when there is a bit of a fake rivalry. If, I don't know, promoters, broadcasters have asked to instigate something. There's something quite deep here that stems back. I don't know whether it is like a local thing or to do with a trainer. Do you know it? Do you know about it?
No, I don't think they boxed in the amateurs, didn't they?
There's something more, though, to do with a trainer from before.
Right, okay. No, I don't know the backstory of that. But certainly you could see, I mean, Masoud didn't really he weren't trying to get into it too much. I think some of his pals were. But Davies was definitely a bit fired up, wasn't he?
Definitely was. It's a fantastic main event. And there's been a lot of these top-tier shows in Birmingham recently, especially with Queensbury that they've been putting on. You glad to see that?
Of course, and like I was just saying, it makes a lot of sense to put big shows in Birmingham when you think it's, everywhere's within a 2-hour drive of Birmingham, all the big cities, London, Manchester, Liverpool, Sheffield, you know what I mean? Some of them within an hour, and loads of great parking. You've got the Birmingham Airport practically on site, train station as well, Birmingham International. Like I say, all the motorways. You've got loads of hotels on site, restaurants, bars, Resorts World. You know, it makes a lot of sense to have the fights here.
Would you say you're the biggest name from Birmingham in a boxing?
Sorry?
Would you say you're the biggest name in Birmingham from a boxing standpoint?
Probably in the modern era, I would say.
I wasn't trying to lump your ego up there, Matt, but I was just trying to think who's actually come from Birmingham recently, and I'd say you really put like a stamp on it. But Liam Davies, I know he's not from Birmingham, but you know if he wins this fight and then can land, he's talking about a Nue. Like he really wants that fight, but even if he can, make world title defences, unifications here in Birmingham, he can really put his sort of stamp on Birmingham.
Yeah, listen, it'd be great for him to get his, he's not Birmingham, but he's the greater Birmingham area almost, isn't he? Just outside. This would be his home venue, home arena. So, he gets lots of support. It's like I say, it's commutable for fans to come and watch him and drive. They don't have to stay in a hotel. Do you know what I mean? They can just drive back and forth on the same evening. Look, if he can get a shot, this is the IBO title. If he can get a shot at one of the bona fide champions, look, in a way, now listen, you're talking. He might be the pound for pound #1 fighter in the world in a way. So I don't know about that fight, but if he could become a legitimate world champion, he could pack this place out.
For sure. Matt, just away from this, are you surprised or not surprised from what we're hearing about the collapse of the rematch with Dubois and Joshua?
Not really, because I thought it was a fight that I didn't think it was a fight that would happen. Anyway, like literally the day after, the week after, people were saying, "Nah, he wants the rematch, exercise the rematch." And I'm like, I can't see it. You know what I mean? I just think after that fight, the way it ended, it was so conclusive. I think at the time, his pride's hurting, AJ. You want the immediate rematch course, but once that wears off, then you start thinking, well, like he's got to go into training pretty quickly to get ready for February, and I just thought I just couldn't see it happening. I just thought it's too unlikely. I didn't see it. It wouldn't shock me if even on reflection ends up calling it a day. Not because he's not still a good fighter, of course he is, but he's not going to be the fighter he once was. He's not as good you're not as good at 34 as you were at 27. And, the 7 years since the Klitschko fight, there was 7 years younger than him. And to me, it was a changing of the guard. You know what I mean? It was the younger fighter coming through, beating the old great fighter. You know what I mean? Who's had an unbelievable career, but he's had his day. And like Klitschko had when he fought AJ, great champion. But his time. He'd had his time, and then it was AJ's time. And what a time it was, by the way, that AJ had. You know, if Dubois can do a quarter of what AJ went on to do after Klitschko, he'll be happy. You know, he'll have had he'll have earned loads and achieved loads.
From what you're saying there, Matt, whether it's a Dubois rematch, an Usyk trilogy, or a fight with Fury, can you see Joshua winning any of those fights?
Look, he's always going to be in with a chance, but I wouldn't pick him to beat any of those guys now, no. Not now.
So I guess that's why you're saying, because he's not going to want to do the rebuild and have those Franklins and Elenius. So if from what you're saying, what's the point?
What's the point? Like, it's not that he can't. It's not that he's not still a really good fighter. It's not that he can't be in big fights and earn loads of money. But AJ's a winner. Do you know what I mean? AJ doesn't want to take part. He wants to win these fights.
And he doesn't need a payday. So.
He doesn't need a payday. You know what I mean? So, like, so if he's going, yeah, but he can still make loads of money. But yeah, but boxing's hard sport to be doing for money when you've already got loads of money.
But I'm sure in his head he's thinking, I can still beat those guys.
Yeah, but does he still? I don't know. Does he still think that? I don't think he can, and I'm not even sure if he really believes he can now.
Is that because of what happened with Daniel?
Yeah, because would that have happened 3 years ago with Daniel? Probably. It could have, but probably not. You know what I mean? And that's probably because Daniel wasn't as good then as what he is now, and AJ was better then than he is now. You know what I mean? Like, retiring in sport, especially boxing, it's a hard one because you're dealing in fractions of seconds. Do you know what I mean? And it's like you go in the gym, you can hit the bag, and you can feel good. Do you know? You can feel really good. You think, because you're still only 34. You're not an old man in life. But in terms of like competition at high-end sport, like you say, it's in football, it's half a yard. You know what I mean? In boxing, you know, it's a split second. Can't pull the trigger. You see it, you hesitate, and it's gone. Where a few years earlier, you're seeing it, bang, you'd have just landed the punch. You didn't hesitate. But now you're older. That just kicks in, and it's hard to accept it when you know. It is hard. I remember, I'm thinking back to my own. It's hard. You know, you can still compete, and you're like, well, I'm still. It's such tiny margins, difference between winning and losing.
Last one. Let me rephrase that question a little bit. And if Dubois has a rematch with Usyk or goes in with Tyson Fury, how do you rate his chances against those two guys?
Better than it would have been the first time, because they're older and he's older, but he's on the right side of being older, being better.
He's only 27 still.
He's only 27. You know, you think of Klitschko and AJ when they fought, it was 7 years between the fights to the Dubois fight, and obviously Dubois is 7 years younger than AJ. So you know, it was a changing of the guard, wasn't it? You've seen it throughout boxing history. You know, the great fighter who's still there, but he gets beaten by the young fighter who then goes on to have his run at the top.
But can he do that? What he did to Joshua, could he do that to Usyk or Fury?
Maybe.
Interesting.
Why not?
Who would you like to see him in with next? We're hearing Joseph Parker, maybe. Fabio Wardley was thrown into the mix.
Yeah, I think Parker probably deserves the shot the most because of the run he's been on and the wins he's had. So I think Parker's a better fighter now than he was when he was world champion. You know what I mean? So that'd be a brilliant fight. That'd be a tough one to pick a winner in.
Absolutely. Matt, appreciate your time. Good to see that you're managing some fighters as well. You've got one down with you today.
Yeah.
And hopefully that goes well for you, and we'll speak soon.
Cheers.
Cheers, Matt.